We're going live. As always, I'm just going to talk aimlessly while I wait for Facebook to confirm that we are live because it could happen at any moment. Oh, it says we're live now. Hello out there, world of social media giant Facebook. How are you all doing? I'm Dane from Moving to Canada, and today I'm joined by our editor, Hugo. How are you doing today, Hugo?
Yeah, very well, thank you. Life is good. How are things in Nova Scotia?
Things are rainy, they're wet, but they're generally going well. I am gonna ask a couple more questions about your life here as we wait for people to join. But just as a heads up, if you are tuning in today, it is is a video where we are going to go over the most recent Express Entry draw results. We just had an Express Entry draw take place a couple of minutes ago. It's a big draw. There's some great numbers coming out of it, so we are going to go over those in just a moment. Just give us a minute for some people to join. And if you are tuning in to this video, as always, drop us a comment. Let us know where you're tuning in from. We're always interested in hearing where in the world our audience members are located. And if you have questions about Express Entry, drop them in the comments. We'll try to answer a question or two here at the end of the video. We are just going to wait for another minute for some folks to join. So in the meantime, Hugo, you have an exciting test coming up today. You have to take some time to go learn about the rules of the road here in Canada. Is that right?
Yeah, so despite the fact I have a full driving license from Ireland, I will be sitting my driving knowledge test here in Quebec today. So, one thing that people should know if you're moving to Canada, whether you can transfer your license depends on the country you're coming from and the province you're moving to. So, you need to be from a country that, like, if you want to just transfer your license to a Canadian license, licenses are actually issued by the province, not the federal government. So it's different. Like if I was an Irish citizen in Ontario, I could just transfer my license over. But because I live in the province of Quebec, they want me to sit a knowledge test, which is not such a bad thing because it's been many years since I drove day to day. And the road signs here are in French, not English. So it's probably not such a bad thing. So I'm not too bitter about it at all.
I do think you're underselling yourself though, because you drive me every day. You drive me up the walls, Hugo. It's so hard working with you. Just kidding. So I think we're pretty much ready to jump into the draw results. I see some people tuning in the comments. Ernest from Nigeria, Kylie from Australia, Mohammed from Pakistan. It's great to see people tuning in from all over the world. So we're gonna give the people what they want. We're gonna go over the draw results. High level summary. Hugo, what were the draw results today? How many invitations were issued, and what was the CRS score cutoff?
Yeah, thanks. Good questions. So I think we can call this a large draw today. We've seen a couple of those recently. Today is another 4,200 invitations. That's a big draw. Not quite the largest of all time, but definitely up there. And the CRS cutoff score is 471. But I think the most interesting thing about this draw, Dane, is that for the third time in a row, it is an all program draw. So for months and months, we saw program specific draws, usually for Canadian experience class candidates and provincial nominees. So there was a federal skilled trades draw in there somewhere as well. So as we exit the summer, it looks like we're seeing more and more all program draws. What do you think?
I mean, I totally agree with you. Like it's looking like we're headed back to a pattern that resembles what we saw pre-COVID. Although I sometimes write two paragraphs of copy. One thing that will happen if there's an all program draw. One thing that we'll post if there's
We know everything in advance.
we just prepare. We work hard and we prepare. That's how it works over here. And I wrote an alternate headline that said maybe there is no normal under Express Entry. In that,
Sure.
we're all talking about this return to pre-COVID normality, but in reality, Express Entry is this flexible immigration system that's built to be responsive, to transform
Yes.
in response to regional events in Canada and global events around the world. That's what we've seen this year, and that's what we'll continue seeing. So I think this idea of like getting back to where we used to be is maybe a bit of a fallacy in some ways.
Yeah. I think on that point, it's going to be really interesting to see potentially within the next month, the new immigration levels plan. Um, that will give, so Canada offers some sort of transparency about its goals and processes, right? So it's going to give us an idea of the numbers that they wish to admit over the next couple of years. But how that relates to how express entry draws happen on a week to week or month to month basis, it'll be interesting to see that over the coming months and years as the national situation plays out.
Mm-hmm.
And there's many variables that go into that. It's not just health, it's also economic, etc. And then there's an international situation as well, the pandemic and the global economy. So there's all these variables coming in, and Express Entry is responsive to all of those things. There's loads of inputs, and then it gives an output. And for people just joining, that output today was 471 points, all program draw, tiebreak March 2nd. So if you're on 471 and you got your profile in before March 2nd, you should get your invitation in the next few hours. But Dane, what's really interesting here is that Canada is showing the flexibility to respond to these situations, whether they're national or international.
Yeah, and beyond that global context, there are a few other optimistic pieces of information that we can take from today's draw results. I've got pulled up here on the Moving to Canada website our Express Entry draw page. It's also linked in the description of this video, so if you want to read through these draw results on your own, you can just click there. But you'll see the last three draws in September, the 2nd, the 16th, the 30th. All three of those draws were open to all programs, and all three draws had 4,200 ITAs issued. So regardless of the pandemic and the effects that that's having, we're seeing these big draws that's above the average number of ITAs that we've seen in draws over the past 12 months. So, the pandemic is, of course, having some impacts on Canadian immigration, but simply by looking at these numbers, we see that Canada is, at least for the time being, maintaining some sort of high commitment to high levels of immigration from skilled workers through Express Entry. And I'm also just going to scroll down. This page is great. We've got tons of, as you can see here, questions about how COVID is impacting Express Entry. And I'm just going to scroll down to the other question that we always get, which is about CRS score distribution. So I'll just hold this here so people can see. We are seeing the number of candidates sitting in that 471 to 480 range falling. It's possible, if we keep seeing these high number of ITAs issued in each draw, that the CRS score cutoff could continue to drop. But Hugo, can we guarantee for our audience that it's going to drop to 470 or 469 or 465 in the next week or month?
I was about to come out with some smart answer, but I think the stakes are too high. No, we cannot guarantee any of those things. First of all, we don't set the rules. We don't do the draws. We just report the news and provide analysis. And secondly, as we said a couple of minutes ago, so many variables going in, so many things yet to play out. No, but we are seeing that when back-to-back and consecutive all-program draws occur at a 2-week interval, it does place downward pressure on the CRS score, typically, although we can't guarantee that will be the case in the future.
Yeah.
I'm confident that that may continue. We might see it enter the 460s, but might is the operative word in that sense. I'm definitely not promising anything.
Yeah, but I see in the comments Alex Fraser is saying, so close, the girlfriend is at 471, but just after the cutoff date. So, I mean, Alex, for you, there are good reasons to be optimistic. The trend, the pattern that we've been seeing suggests that there's a decent chance that could come to fruition for your girlfriend in the next draw. But again, they could go back to doing these sort of program-specific draws, especially as we see a couple of Canada's biggest provinces, Quebec, where you are, Hugo, and Ontario, are really in the midst of a second wave of COVID infections, and it's going to be sort of unpredictable how that will impact immigration policy, and I mean all public policy, but we're talking about immigration here.
Yeah. Best of luck, Alex. We're rooting for you and for your girlfriend.
Yeah. We got a couple questions coming in that we can maybe rattle through here before we wrap up this video. So some general questions. We always get these kind of questions. Ernest asking, what are the best possible ways to move to Canada? Ernest, we've got an article on the Moving to Canada website. I'm going to pull it up here. It's right under the immigration section. It is called How to Immigrate to Canada. It breaks down the most popular, well, not the most popular, really, just sort of
Yeah.
all of your immigration options for Canada at a high level, bearing in mind that there are more than 100 immigration pathways for coming to Canada.
Yeah.
So,
And Dane, on that page, I think the real differentiator between that page and other web pages on other websites is that rather than just saying these are the programs, here's 80 or 100 programs, and they have names and acronyms that you're not familiar with, it actually just so
mhm.
if you're from this country or you're this age or you have this experience, and it asks you to read more based on that. So um, we know we get great feedback on that page, and it's helped people. So I can't remember the person's comment who commented there, but go there because you'll see a situation, at least one situation, hopefully, that applies to you, and you get to learn more about which programs might be right for you.
Yeah, and I've just showed off for our viewers the sort of interactive possibilities for that page. One other thing that I'm going to show off because it is, an express entry draw update that we're doing here is our express entry roadmap. If you're just learning about express entry now, I highly recommend signing up for this. It's a totally free email education service. Put in your email, you will receive 7 lessons, 1 lesson a day. So you just have to do 5 or 10 minutes of learning each day, read through the lesson. By the end of that week, once you go through all 7 lessons, you'll have a really foundational knowledge of express entry, and you'll be well positioned to engage in express entry if that does turn out to be the optimal immigration pathway for you. And so that's just pulled up right here on the website. You can again find it under the immigration heading. Couple more questions. Hugo, we had Son Anne from Ireland, your homeland.
Okay. What's the name? How did you pronounce it?
Son Anne,
How do you spell it?
SON, and then ANH, and then I don't know. Is that Irish? Is that
Yeah.
Gaelic? I'm gay. I ain't Gaelic, so that's my joke for that moment. Anyway, Sanan is asking, are we still restricted from entering Canada?
It really depends on your situation. Broadly, as a broad level, yes, but there are some exceptions, right? So, Dane, maybe just show the newsfeed there, provide the exceptions.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's the way to go. Like, I'll give one example. If you're an Irish citizen and you're invited, you're approved for the IEC working holiday prior to March 18th, and you have a job offer in Canada, you should be able to arrive and land in Canada and begin your work permit here and start working, etc. But if that's not the case, you may not be able to land. So there's so many factors at play. There are some people who are able to land, or many people, I would say the majority, who are not. So.
Yeah. And I've, as you suggested, Hugo, I just pulled up our COVID news feed. So you'll see this. It's linked at the top of every page on our website, so it's really easy to find. And we've got a whole section here on who can and cannot enter right now. The restrictions, as you mentioned, are still quite substantial. I would say the vast majority of foreign nationals are not able to enter Canada at this time. But check that for all of the exemptions. Let's see if we got another question coming in here. We do. So people asking about some different types of immigration programs. Shiraz asking about sponsorship. Shayra asking about scholarship opportunities. Again, I'm going to refer you to our website. As you'll see, we've got sections here on immigration where you can find family sponsorship resources. We've got a whole section here on studying in Canada where you can find out about how to become an international student and some general information on scholarship opportunities, though we don't go into a ton of detail on our website with that. So all of those sorts of general questions about immigration programs refer to there's so much information on that website. Definitely take advantage of that. Osman is asking about ITAs issued to people who submitted their profiles before the 2nd of March. So if you were eligible, you had the CRS score necessary to receive an invitation in today's draw. Hugo, does that invitation just appear automatically in your IRCC account? How does that work?
It can take up to 24 hours.
Yeah.
So we see that sometimes people get out more or less instantaneously. Some people it's a few minutes. Some people it's a few hours. Sometimes it's the next morning. But if you have satisfied the conditions for the draw, you will see that invitation if you haven't received it already.
Yeah, exactly. And we've heard one of the consultants who we recommend, Deanne from Canada Abroad, she mentioned to me during the last draw that they've been seeing quite a delay in some of their clients receiving the ITA in their account. Like it sometimes actually takes close to the full 24 hours. So
Right.
don't freak out if you don't see that right now. So we
You see, IRCC, they've got one person there sending the emails out manually, one by one, to 4,200 different people,
just like
right?
a small hamster typing away.
Copying the addresses, getting them wrong. I don't know.
Hey,
I made that. Sorry, that's not true.
hamsters can be intelligent. Sorry, I'm like that's such. I meant that as a joke, but I realized that could maybe be interpreted poorly. Okay, great. So let's end off this video. I'm just gonna take a sec to plug the Moving to Canada account. You can see this here. I've pulled it up on our website, and you can usually see a little call to action here to register in the corner of every page. So if you don't have a Moving to Canada account, it's totally free. It takes 2 minutes to create, and you get a ton of freebies, more immigration resources, including our Getting Started guide, our Canadian resume templates if you're looking for jobs in Canada, access to those immigration roadmaps. As I mentioned, the Express Entry roadmap, really great resource in there. So sign up today if you haven't already. Otherwise, I think we've gone through all the questions we can for today. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to the live video. We always appreciate having our audience tune in and participate, ask questions, that sort of thing. Thank you, Hugo,
Thank you, Dane.
for joining me. Good luck on your driving test today. We'll talk about it in the, now I put a lot of pressure on you. We're gonna have to talk about it in the next video.
We'll talk about it in our team meeting later today. How's that?
Woo. Okay. Thanks so much,
Best of luck
guys.
to everyone out there who is still looking to move to Canada and is still frustrated by the global situation and may not have had enough points to get invited today. Just please keep the hopes up. I've been there, and it can sometimes take a while. It can take years, but just keep believing.
Yeah. Keep believing, persist, and hopefully it'll work out. Okay. Thanks so much, guys. We're going to tune out for now. See you next time.